Welcome to Ponytails and Pep Talks, the podcast where blowouts, breakdowns, and breakthroughs are a weekly discussion. I'm your host, ReJeania. For over 3 decades, I've been behind the salon chair as a stylist, an owner, and yes, your favorite unlicensed therapist. I have heard it all. The tears, the triumphs, the you won't believe what just happened stories from courageous women overcoming incredible obstacles. So let's meet one of them right now on Ponytails and Pep Talks. Welcome back, besties, to another great episode of Ponytails and Pep Talks. I'm your amazing host, ReJeania, and today's episode will not disappoint. Spend your next half hour with me, along with one of my most favorite voices in health and wellness, Elisa McClure, officially known as Dr. E in our Faith and Wellness segment. Well, summer is officially here, and in Texas, girl, it is hot. You know, we will be hitting the lakes, the swimming pools, the barbecues, the picnics, vacations, mowing the grass, and sweating to the oldies. Dr. E, this season is thrilling, but it is sweat filled. It is super busy. The kids are home from school. What are you noticing about people's overall health, energy, and wellness right now?
Well, the thing I notice the most is just the feeling of not enough energy. So, and a
Uh,
lot of that has to do with just plain old hydration because we can't drink enough water or do the things we need to do. We're in air conditioning, and then we pop out to the heat. So, we have to have a little bit of a different routine for summer and get ready for those
uh,
90 plus or 100 plus days.
right. Yes. In
Being
Texas.
so we wanna be outdoors, but really the hydration, I think, for people is one of the most important things, which seems so like we should know that, but I think the reminder is the thing we need because wintertime, we need those heavier foods and sort of the things that can keep us warm and cozy,
Hmm.
like, "I'm too hot."
Absolutely. Well, it makes a lot of sense, of course. And I'd love that. That's the way God created it. When wintertime comes, He puts together all these things that go into a stew and those comfort foods and all of that to nourish us and keep us warm on the inside. And then comes summertime, comes all of the lighter foods, the fresher foods, and more things like that. But we are and in the water and outside, and we think all those things are going to be what it takes to make us excited and happy and healthy, but we're still sluggish because of exactly that. We miss the hydration. So even when people say I'm getting outdoors, I'm exercising, I am doing more, our underlining issue a lot of times is hydration. But is that it?
Well, that's the big part of it. We all carry around those huge water bottles now. So why isn't that enough? Well, yeah, it's important, but hydration is also about minerals and of course those words that
Mm,
we know like electrolytes
mhm.
or uh keeping things going with really functional beverages that people drink all the time. So it's not
Yeah.
just about drinking the water, it's about eating the foods that naturally contain water, which
Mhm.
then nutritionally have all those minerals and all the electrolytes and things that we need because they're part of that actual food. So that would be things like watermelon, which is one of our
Yay.
favorite summer things.
Yes, it is.
Cucumbers, tomatoes, berries, citrus fruits, and of course, when we put herbs into our food, especially if we get them fresh this time of year,
Right.
they are power packed with vitamins and minerals too. So herbs contain a lot of vitamins. For instance, just like a simple parsley that we may chop up and put in our foods, if you use that
Mhm.
fresh, it contains a lot of vitamin C. So those are things that we
Wow.
can do that nature provides seasonally, as we talk about, is like
Right.
this is season that it can keep us our hydration or the water we're drinking or enhanced water will last a lot longer and really nourish us. So One of my favorite things is that watermelon with a little bit of sea salt and maybe some
Mhm.
chopped mint on it. Oh, so good.
That sounds good. And of course, you mentioned like sea salt. And why? Why is sea salt different than just Morton salt off the shelf?
Well, Morton salt or just plain old white salt is just sodium chloride. It has really been bleached. All the minerals have been taken out of it. But when we use real sea salt or Celtic salt, Himalayan salt, it has all the minerals in it. So,
Yeah.
for when we have a pinch in our water, a pinch under our tongue to keep us hydrated,
Mm.
then it goes a long way to make that our hydration be longer lasting and really nourish us. Something simple again, just like that.
Something simple. That's what I was going to say. You have a great way of slowing everything down and making us realize, when we look at health and wellness and stuff, we think it's this big picture that's going to be so hard and so much to do. But every time we talk to you, you have a way of bringing that down and showing us, no, this really is simple. And to do it simple, what do you think about Mediterranean style eating during this time?
Well, again, that Mediterranean style is one of my favorites, of course, just because of my Italian heritage. But
Oh,
really,
yeah.
you study those cultures that are in the Mediterranean, Greek and Italian, the blue zones,
Hmm.
Sardinia in particular is one of those where these are people that are living zones they've studied that are living well over 100. There's so many
Oh,
centenarians there. So I think it deserves looking at to say, what are they doing? Why does that
yeah.
happen? Well, we like to enjoy our summers, of course. We have our
Hmm.
barbecues and our burgers. There's no way we're going to take those away. Bag of
No.
chips, something. But we can also bring in these types of foods that we see in that Mediterranean lifestyle when, the temperatures are hot, people are outside, they're doing things. Again, with those types of foods that we know and love in the summertime. So with the addition of some side dishes, those seasonal fruits, the herbs, uh, all of that makes a difference when we see how fresh it can be. So we have farmers markets. Even if you don't grow
Yes.
your own, you can go get those fresh vegetables that are seasonal, but they're also local. So when they're
Right.
local, it nourishes you even more because the soils are not big commercial farms and that kind of thing. So, it's far reaching as far as that goes. Um, Nothing fancy again, nothing complicated, just our really good staples for the summer, but we
Right.
prepare them simply again for all of our fun, exciting things that we do in the summertime.
Yeah, and usually the foods like this too don't require heating up the oven and getting the house hot and things like that. We can just easily cut them up. They're cool. They hold well, through the summer. So I enjoy that, as well. And go back to good old fashioned, even if you're outside in a picnic that's eating around a table, that's creating memories. I think it's good to get the children involved in. I like the idea of eating the rainbow, especially during summertime, because oh gosh, the fruits, the vegetables are so beautiful with color, and which is very appetizing to our eyes. So our eyes will look at it, then our mouth will taste it, and it's fulfilling. So, what about the memories around the table that we're missing?
Absolutely. I think, again, getting the kids involved uh, is great because they can cut fruit. They can,
Hmm.
if you have a little herb garden, they can go cut herbs to bring into the house and get them involved. The more children are involved in not only shopping, but the choices that you're making, then they're more apt to say to want to try something different instead of just the typical chicken nugget kind of thing that happens most like default, that
Right.
they can be more nourished too. And hydration is equally important for the kids. So as they're eating that
Yeah.
fruit, makes a big difference to them too, instead of reaching for those. let's call them sports drinks that might be out there.
Right. And there is a lot of that out there. And we don't think about it. I heard this on the news, a few years ago, and it just never kind of let it go. But pavement is really hot and sets off heat, and children are low to the ground. They're right there at that pavement. So it's even more important to get them hydrated. And those so-called sports drinks actually a lot of time are so full of sugar that it actually dehydrates.
Yeah.
They may be getting something wet in their mouth, but it's really dehydrating. What is something that you would suggest for children in particular that they will love, that's tasty, you can get them to drink, and will help hydrate them?
Well, I think one of those pretty drinks, just water with a lot of fruit in it. If we have one of the containers and you put in some water and good water and sea salt and a little bit of honey and all the fruits and things, they love to see that type, maybe that fresh mint inside of there, which would be a
Right?
great recipe for everybody. But also, and you mentioned something like being low to the ground and the pavement being hot, this time of year, we have to watch our pets too, that
Oh,
taking them
yes.
with us. We've gotta have their water bowls and all the things that they need too, because our pets, yeah, can suffer as well with hydration. But I'm always testing the kids because I have grandkids, um, I always wanna see what they like, what they actually come back to time and time
Yeah.
again in
Yes.
that.
And pets love fruits. There's a lot of fruits that pets can eat as well. They love
Yeah,
watermelon, actually.
they do.
They do that. So, of course, we love to snack a lot during the summer. The kids are home. We're watching more movies. We're, playing outside, going to picnics or what of that. You always end up mentioning a word that either I've not heard before or I've heard of and don't know what to do with. And one of those new words this month is going to be, and I'm not even sure how to say it, but sorghum. Is that how you say it?
Yes, sorghum. So I recently had a little, as I said, I like to involve the kids. So I made this snack table. Because I like to experiment and see what do they like? What are they eating? What can I do for the summer to make them have something that is just not the typical potato chip. Nothing wrong
Right.
with a really good potato chip, but
Sure.
I want to introduce something different. So it's the sorghum, and it's sorghum is something that has always been grown and mostly used for animals or in bird seed. We see sorghum
Wow.
in bird seed, but as uh, as a snack for humans, it's just coming out that it's like miniature, really tender popcorn, but it's not corn. So if we're going to avoid some of these allergies, we recently had my granddaughter's birthday party, and there was a list of maybe 5 allergies of the kids attending that
Oh, wow.
had to make accommodation for, which we did. And that's where the sorghum kind of comes in because it's allergen free. It's not corn, which some kids,
Yeah.
and it's not soy. It doesn't have gluten. And it's really interesting because it's tiny, tiny little pops, like miniature popcorn, as I said. So the kids
Yeah.
really loved it. So there's a couple of them that are just coming out on the market now that you can look for things that are, it's called Better Than Popcorn, or Cobb Foods came out with one that's actually made as tortilla chips. So those who can't corn or can't do anything that has those allergens in it. So basically that tortilla chip has 3 ingredients in it. So there's no artificial colors, it's sea salt, it's checks all the boxes for a fun
Wow.
conversation starter in the summertime. To say, hey, look what I have. Better than popcorn. Then people go, what's that? And it really tastes good.
So is it do you cook it like a popcorn or it just already comes in the little pieces? How does it come?
Well, you can pop it, but I've not tried to do that. I've never done it.
Okay.
So I would
Yeah.
say buy the one that's already made and then you can experiment if you want to, because they do have the chips out now and they've got little great snack bags with flavors like avocado oil and sea salt. uh, coconut oil and lime, and they're really good. So it takes the place of that really heavy tortilla chip that we all love. I know we do. We like our crunchy, salty things. So
We
it just
do.
it up a notch, to have
Mhm.
it a healthier one, and it's got more protein in it, which we're always get our protein, aren't we?
We are. As a matter of fact, I did a little snippet on that this morning, talking about getting my protein in and had cottage cheese with my fresh berries on top with a little bit of local honey, even. And it was a great breakfast. And I know I got all that protein in. I am
Yeah.
a huge popcorn lover. So I'm super, super excited about trying this. As much as I love popcorn and I love corn chips and stuff, I have a tendency to stay away from 'em because it just bloats me up like
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know why. And I eat the siete chips and, other things. I tend to stay away from some of the others, but occasionally, yeah, there's that great that potato chip, you just can't deny it sometimes. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm super excited about trying that because like I say, I love popcorn, so I'm going to go find those. Do you find those already in our local grocery stores or only in health food stores? Where are you seeing it?
Actually, I found them on Amazon because I was searching
Okay.
as I was developing my little snack bar for the kids. I said, okay, I've got to find some different things. So I just started searching on Amazon to see if I could the allergen free style foods that were out there. So I did find some that were just great. Um, so
Okay.
that's what we did, and they've been kid approved.
That's fun. That is fun whenever you can find something that the kids will eat and not snarl their nose at. And then after that, it would be, can you get some teenagers to eat it and not snarl their nose up at it? And
Yeah.
um, I seen a little thing on TikTok, and a lady had asked, when your kids won't eat something, what else do you call it? And they actually took the same foods. I think one of them was like lasagna, and they called it a spaghetti pie or something. And the kids wouldn't eat lasagna, but they'd eat the spaghetti pie, which was exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So calling it something different sometimes just tricks their little minds. So another thing with all of this, of course, is preparation. What
Mm.
kind of preparation goes into this, and why do we need to prepare? And do we need 15 different bowls to set up and do 15 different things, whatever? How do we make this simple?
Well, one, when you have some really healthy packaged snacks, as we just talked about, you can buy them. They're just like they're all ready to go, right? Just throw them in the
Yeah.
bag. There they are. If you're going out to the pool or the boat or wherever. But at home, you can get these things done ahead of time. So I know that you talked about this morning the recipes. So I created some recipes to go with this podcast. But
Yes.
the healthiest habits that we can do is making that preparation and really dieting and this whole thing that we just have to be so rigid about things is when you're preparing all these things ahead that we'll talk about is that it just becomes easier because we grab things because they're convenient.
Yes,
So if
we
you
do.
your own convenience and have things already prepared in your refrigerator, which you can do with making things ahead in mason jars and doing those fun type of things that you talked about this morning in your intro. That makes a world of difference.
It definitely can. And goodness, again, thank goodness summer is an easy time for that. And one of the cool things too is that I know sometimes it costs a little bit more, but even in our grocery store, they have things, the fresh foods, even snack pack ready to go. You
Mm.
can get watermelon already cut up. You can get cucumbers already cut up. You can get all of this cut up. So if you need to save time and you still want to, feed your family well and snacks well, may cost a little bit more, but even our grocery store is starting to even package up, the healthy stuff. So I really appreciate that. I think some things that would help with the kids even is let them pick out the containers for things to go into, and they can help with the cutting up. And then there becomes the memory that, oh, the pink container is the one, or the one, the glass container with the pink lid. That's the one that the watermelon's going into, or, different things. And, a little muscle memory, thing to remember. So let's talk about these wonderful little recipes that we have put together, which will be linked, for people to download. You set three, I think, very simple things to make. We bit make ahead some of them. What do you have for us today?
Well, I did a whole summer wellness series as far as recipes go. So for today, I
Okay.
three of them because I think they're one of the most popular ingredients, and it includes a drink, a unique salad, and also our favorite watermelon with a little bit of a different twist on it.
Mm.
So when we're talking about these type of things, I always when I'm creating recipes, I always think about how does not just how does it taste, but does it nourish us? So the
Right.
nourishment part in these particular recipes for today were, does it hydrate us? Does it give us the minerals that we need? Of course, does it taste good? And number three, is it easy?
Mm.
Thought of these as, say that my summer cucumber marinated cucumber salad.
Yes,
You're
which I
chopping
love.
the cucumbers and it's going in there. It's got mint, but you could put that in a really beautiful mason jar and it looks so
Mm.
pretty in the fridge and make it a day
Right.
ahead, say if you're packing a cooler for the weekend or something. Or you could serve it that way just for dinner because it just
Hmm.
makes it different than having a bowl. I just love the way food looks in mason jars. Uh,
I was just going to say that all of these are also very eye pleasing foods, eye appetizing.
they're eye appetizing. And of course, when we see something that looks nice, as you mentioned, we
Mm.
see to want to eat it too.
We
So
do.
So that sounds good, but also the watermelon, mint, and feta salad, which kicks it up a notch and that salty sweet that we all,
Right.
but also again very eye appealing with the little bit of mint, and of course all of these are going to have a pinch of or more of sea salt
Right.
because that's where we're going to get our electrolytes in our body are going to just keep charging up when we eating these type of nourishing foods.
We do. And, a lot of people think, oh, I stay away from salt. I don't, I stay away. And, but there is healthy, very healthy salt that our body needs, especially when we're sweating. Because when we are sweating and hot and out and about, we're losing a lot of salt out of our body. So by putting the healthy, nutritious salt, back in with the minerals, then that's what's going to make the difference. That kind is our good salt. And of course, salt always brings out the flavor of anything it lands on. Mm.
Oh, it really does. And salty sweet is a good combination. That's why when is with these recipes, I didn't use sugar, even coconut sugar, or any of the other sugar. As you again mentioned before, was that local honey. If you can find honey local to your area, that means those bees have worked hard on those local flowers and all the pollen, and it helps improve the immune system. So when we're putting in these little tiny things that add the flavors, that add the seasonality to our foods, they become truly nourishing, which to me is golden. It's it's what we need.
It is, and it's all wrapped up in one. It's natural, it is simple, it's easy to package up and take with you, nutritious and eye appealing. These kind of snacks and these things have everything in it that we could possibly need. So, as we close, do you have a summer faith reflection, that you'd like to share with us?
I do. I like the fact that we are in the summer, we want to be a little bit more relaxed. We don't want to have a whole lot of rules because that's what the summer's all about. And it seems to be short now. The kids seem to go back to school quicker, or we take some breaks. But instead of what rule am I breaking or what am I doing, it's not the time for those restrictive diets and things. But the keys that we've given today have you absolutely have those healthier foods. So it makes a big difference in what we're doing. Uh, Not restricted, not to get that obsessive. And of course, even when we're working out or going on our walks or doing some of those things and spending time with
Hmm.
family, you don't want to be counting your macros all the time and trying to figure out what am I doing? So I think the summer is just a way to really just sit back and say, we're going to experience God's abundance with the
Yeah.
garden producing the fruit, the fresh vegetables that are coming in, the children and everybody just having some fun at the pool or on vacation or whatever you're doing, is to really stay in that present moment and
Right.
uh and just enjoy it, not obsess over anything that isn't quite right or not perfect.
I completely agree. And that's really beautiful, Dr. E. Every time you join us, you always remind us that wellness can be simple, it can be joyful, and it's deeply meaningful and very nourishing to our mind, body, and soul. All
Uh,
of these things are. Yeah. I want to, thank all of our listeners also for joining us for another wonderful episode with Dr. E for faith and wellness and focus here on Ponytails and Pep Talks. So let's kind of, bobby pin in our points here and set them out. Let's do what Dr. E is talking about. Let's drink more water. Let's eat more real food. Let's gather with the people that you love, spend time outdoors, and remember that little things every day create big changes in your life. I hope you guys have a great week. I'm excited this week. I'm going to take these recipes that Dr. E provided and I am going to put them all together and show you that live this week. So don't miss that. It'll be on Instagram, it'll be on TikTok, it'll be on YouTube. And I want to show y'all how simple and how quick that we can make these very healthy recipes. Love you guys. Have a wonderful week.